And we are live. Happy Friday. How is everyone today? I'm going to open up everything and see my comments and things. I didn't prepare for this too well. I was doing a quiz about 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to open up all my things and let everyone jump in. By the way, I get an email from YouTube to say, hey, you're live. But I suppose if I accidentally did it, it's probably a useful thing to have. I'm in my new place. So if there's any audio issues or anything like that, please let me know, because it's very likely I have not set up everything correctly or that I changed the dial when I was doing things. Let me get in my... comments there. And let's share this out on Twitter as well, just to make sure if anyone wants to find me, they will. And perfect. Huh. Maybe you did. Let's see. I feel we missed a few sentences. Yeah, you might have. Again, just trying to get the new setup running. So there's definitely going to be a few glitches, as always. You know, I never got over glitches when I was doing this in the last place either, but I'm expecting even more glitches than usual. So let's just see how it goes. Thanks. Yeah, a little bit of lo-fi, so there isn't that dreary silence. It keeps me motivated as well. Just this is what I'd listen to. A little bit of lo-fi when I'm coding. Always helps me stay focused. As long as there's no lyrics, it's perfect. And Praveen, welcome. How are you doing today? Let me try this out as well. Boom. Hoping. Okay. I am everywhere I need to be, I think, now. Perfect. I have a little bit of hold of everything again. I think I have all the tabs and different things I needed. But we'll see. We'll just test this stuff out. Is the audio okay for everyone? Because I guess this is... Yeah, actually, yeah, I think that's where we'll pick up from. So for anyone that's missing, we're having a conversation about my misspelling of pigeon there, because I was so wrongly accused that I wouldn't be a fancy eater. So I guess if people don't know why, I guess I've ever had anything fancy in my life at all, it's not from where I'm from. I used to sell fine wines before I was a coder, so therefore I went to a lot of wine tastings and wine maker dinners and things. So I got used to a palate that I couldn't afford. So every so often, I still like to eat very fancy meals. Now, of course, nothing beats fried chicken or bacon. So to me, that's gourmet enough, or gourmet, as I would say. This room looks a lot smaller than your previous dungeon. Yeah, interesting. Actually, this one, unlike the last one, I have a dedicated room this time in this apartment. And yeah, it's probably a little bit smaller, but I actually can move around. Before I had a bed behind me and everything. So now I have a separate room and a different room for napping in. And it actually is probably better for productivity because I had the bed behind me. What I'd often do is just like take a nap during the day. I'd be fed up. So I just lie down. And that's it. I was gone. The new house is feeling good. Really, really nice. I was a bit worried. We were looking for somewhere. So my lease was up on the last place this Monday, and I didn't find somewhere until last week. So lucky enough, we got told we could move in within a couple of days. So we jumped straight in. And yeah, it's been, we got really lucky. It's a little bit bigger than the last place. And we have, we're a little bit more central. So I'm like a 10-minute walk to Stephen's Green here in Dublin now. So it's awesome. Now that lockdown is starting to end a little bit, I will be able to actually walk out to the pub, or at least down to restaurants and wherever else I need to go now. So I'm really excited because I moved into the place before that during COVID as well. And really there was nothing to do other than spend too much money on rent and still not be able to do anything. So I'm hoping this time I'll actually be able to do stuff. I didn't know. My autocomplete was not letting me spell it that way, Paul. Yeah, look, for people that aren't understanding the pigeon reference, jump into our Discord. We have a great Discord chat where we're all super friendly to each other. Probably not that friendly to each other all the time, but it's always a bit of fun. Lots of questions and lots of help from different people. If you've coding questions or just you're generally bored, you can jump in there and talk nonsense. I will actually find a link to the Discord and throw it into the chat for people to join in. Let me have a look. Boom, boom, boom. Invite people. Edit invite link. Never. No limit. Let's copy that and throw this into the chat. I'm going to get everyone with a little bit of an invite here if you're not in the Discord already. Let's throw this in. Any plans on running a live meetups anytime soon? This is a really interesting question. So I do plan from next month when I'm back, because I'm taking a little bit of break from lots of things this month. So I'll probably be quiet enough this month and then ramp up hard next month as I'm launching a new business of mine, and I am going to be making a lot more content, and I will be back doing meetups. I'll have a little bit more of my time to do things like that. So I will be working on some live meetups. So the first two, I'm guessing, will be online. And then depending on what the state of Ireland is in the pandemic, I might even do an in-person meetup, maybe in one of the parks around Dublin, just to be a networking event as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting the meetups and events back and running. I have been a bit vacant for the last few months. Just the workload was crazy, so I had to do some trade-offs. But yeah, we're definitely getting back. Next month, we're back in action. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Praveen is there to answer all the questions. He looks after the server better than me. So thanks a million, Praveen. In fairness, Praveen looks after that place for me. It's thankfully is run well because of Praveen there. We're really helpful with important life choices as well, as I feel. I don't know if that's sarcastic. I think there is some good advice going out in there. You don't think so? I thought it was excellent advice. I could be wrong. I'm just like, yeah. That is a great idea, and it probably involves destroying yourself. So, yeah, maybe do your research after listening to some of the advice in there. That's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, don't listen to people on the internet for all your wisdom, I guess. Yeah, new crib, new place. Moved in here last Friday. So yeah, it's really nice because I have the dedicated space here now. So much room for activities. Any Step Brother fans out there? One of my favorite movies. I have so much room to walk around. So when I'm trailing around now, when I'm having calls, I can move around a little. I really like it. I'm settling in very fast. Yes, new business and content sounds interesting. So I will be doing a couple of different things. I'm still toying with the idea of starting a second channel to not dilute the original content. But I have been working for the past few years at a much more business capacity, like in the business side and strategy and roadmaps and all of that side of the business. So I might actually put it out to a lot of the members and the Discord to see whether I should introduce a lot of that business content straight onto the coding community, or should I separate it and brand it with my new business. And the new business is I am starting to build a nice system to help businesses get funded or startups get funded in Ireland here initially. And I'm hoping to take that European-wide next year. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing that. But again, as I'm doing all that, I'm learning lots of stuff. Very interesting things, both coding and from a business point of view. So I just have so much to share with people on all the research I've been doing. And then I've been doing some phenomenal stuff in Spark as well. Like the product that we're building in there is phenomenal. The team is phenomenal. And we are starting to see some great progress in all avenues. So I'm going to hopefully be able to speak a little bit more and share some of those things. So yeah, there's so much to go on at the moment. It's because I've had my head down for a few months that now that I've taken up, I'm like, oh my God, how much have I learned? How much do I have to tell people now? What should I tell? It's going to be interesting. No NDAs here. I'm one of those advocates for if you share an idea and somebody steals it, oh well. It happens. I think a lot of people are so afraid of sharing ideas when they haven't even got started. I have started, but again, it's a case of I think I can do what I'm going to do better than anyone anyway. So that's me being arrogant, but oh well. I guess you have to be a little bit, or else you don't do these things. If you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to? What I wanted to get home, I have it here. Where is it? This is what I want in the background here. The old Doom. Let's see. We have it signed by John Romero, one of the guys who basically designed the first person shooters ever. He actually lives in Ireland, and I met him at an AWS event. So I got a signed poster, and I think that's what's going to go up on the wall behind me, because I think that's more suitable for my style. Yeah, I guess, yeah. We do actually tend to keep the advice. Like, if you're asking coding advice, there's usually great coding advice. If you're asking general advice in the chat, you're probably lost. But the memes is best of all. Memes is definitely the best of all. And let's see, top quality. Excellent. Yeah, so you have to, and I truly believe in this. I tell this to people all the time. And of course, I have my doubts. Everyone has their doubts. And I think it's very important to speak openly about me even doubting myself with these things, or making excuses of why I don't do something or take a chance on things and make moves in my own life. I know I take more risks than most. So I'm kind of lucky for that. For maybe it's when I grew up doing boxing and things, I just got hit in the head a sufficient amount of times to give me the right amount of brain damage to be riskier. But I am always an advocate for people to be confident in themselves and their ability, no matter what stage they are in it. If that's a learning thing, you just need to be confident that you'll get through it. If that's a business thing, it's that you're willing to try it. And you know what? Be willing to fail. Fail upwards. You'll fail enough times. Every success story has years of failures behind them as well, by the looks of things. So it'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Oh, there's a nice motorbike going by. I get distracted in this new house as well because there is looking out onto a nice road here as well. I've done well to not put up that poster. Do you not like my lovely poster, Paul? I think it's epic. I think that's awesome. John Romero was playing Doom with people at an AWS convention. I don't understand why, but it was glorious. And we had it on a theater-sized screen with him whooping everyone at Doom. So it was excellent. That's a very interesting idea. I should probably see if I can get some people on that to do something like that. That'd be a very interesting thing to do. I'll see if I can even get a poster made up with all their faces. That'd be really disturbing. I'll see if I can get my designer to do some cartoons of everyone, or at least the people that are being very active in the community as well. The MVPs. No, it's an awesome poster. Nah, you've no taste, style, or substance. Look, we're wasting my time with epic posters on you. See, Boaz knows where it's at. It's an awesome poster. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, mate. There you go. Along with all the other stupid things I did growing up, that's probably added to the chaos for sure. Let's have a look. And all right. I've actually, thankfully, before we jump into the AMA and people start throwing questions in the chat, I am happy to talk about anything. And yeah, I'm actually on the Scottish stuff today. For once, I usually drink Irish, but I need to do a beer run, I guess. So what are we going on? Now it tastes like Friday. Most embarrassing thing that happened to me at a restaurant. That's a really... I don't know where this AMA is going. I thought it was going to be like coding and career and business. Has anything embarrassing ever happened to me in a restaurant? I bet you I could ask my partner and she'd tell me that I'm embarrassing every time I go to a restaurant. I think I'm usually well behaved, but I guess it's context. For me, I'm well behaved, but to other people, I would need to bring somebody in here to answer that, because I think I'm good, I guess. But I'll think about that. I'm sure I've done something. Maybe more likely is when I've been in a restaurant after being out and then just like dropping pizza on the ground or stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think so. I think restaurants are where I'm usually behaved. I pretend I'm a sophisticated human being. See, here she is. So she is telling us now. So Carolina, you can tell us what you think the most embarrassing thing I done in a restaurant is, other than enter the building, apparently. Yeah, today's stream is sponsored by Brewdog. There is no sponsor to this video. I just really like Brewdog. I'm dying. They have their hotels over in Aberdeen now, and you can get a beer keg in your room. You just pick which one you want. That sounds amazing and dangerous. But yeah, that sounds phenomenal. Kraken and Coke, nice. Sophisticated. The pirate juice himself. Although they didn't have Coke. They had their own. Kraken will do. Coding career, etc. is our field. We can skip that. Yeah, interesting. I thought more people would want to know, like, maybe not the core members that are always here. I guess I'm just checking to make sure there wasn't other questions as well. But yeah, we could probably skip that. I think most people know how I got into coding. I will be doing a few more videos soon, as well as how I kind of went from self-taught developer to an executive level, because I do think that's an interesting journey to share with people as well. That's going to be in some of the upcoming content as well. Great. Thank you. Well, it's actually not new, but it is newly set up because I moved house. So I have been buying pieces for this. Like my chair I got about 3 years ago. The screen I got over COVID. I've been slowly, month by month, kind of adding pieces, and now it's kind of looks like it was planned when really it wasn't. So it looks well. Did you ever have a moment when you actually thought this field wasn't for you? Yes, plenty of times. When I was first starting out, and initially, like, I knew nobody that was a developer. I didn't know how to, I didn't know anything or what I should be learning. So I did the like Code Academy stuff, and I was looking on YouTube at like, what should I learn? And I had nobody around me that I could ask what I should be learning. So I was trying to learn like some Python, some PHP, some everything to just get a job. So I remember I did about 20 jobs, and I kind of ran out of some junior jobs to apply for. So I just seen some software engineering roles that I thought I would be okay for. And I did one technical test with a crowd, and the feedback I got from them was, which I think was brutal. I think this is the harshest feedback I ever received. And I think it was very unprofessional as well. But they had told me that they wouldn't even consider me as a junior engineer. And I remember when I got that feedback, for a whole day, was like, this is after doing 20 interviews. And then getting that kind of news, I really had to go and do a check and say, is this for me? And I think that's important too, because sometimes you do have to check and say, hey, maybe it's not for me. But I decided I spent too much time to not at least get in the door. So after I slept on it, I decided, you know what, I can do this. I will do this. And I want to prove to myself more than that dickhead of an interviewer who gave me that feedback. So yeah, I've had my moments, but I know that was the biggest moment. That was the closest to quitting I ever got. And it's amazing that it was somebody else's words and not my own thoughts and feelings about the situation. It was just somebody's opinion of me that really nearly made me quit. Invite some project lead, Scrum Master to talk about project management. Yes, absolutely. Believe it or not, I've done project management myself. I've been a technical product manager for a while. I know it's slightly different, but we have done roadmaps, and I have had organized a lot of things very close to Scrum and project leads. So I will absolutely look into getting somebody like that, because that is such a fantastic thing to learn about. Because I've noticed, especially say junior to mid-level developers often are like, what is the point in these people around the place? And it's only when, because they're shielded from the business, you realize how valuable they are. So it's when you're closer to lead level and you're the one getting grilled for all the mistakes that are happening and from business deadlines and everything else, that a good project lead or scrum master can absolutely save your ass. So I would absolutely love to get somebody on. When did I start web development? So my journey to web development was on and off to a certain extent. When I was in school, I had built a couple of like WordPress sites. So never counted that as web development because I did nothing other than like maybe change some code to make some words bold and things. So I wouldn't have said that, but like I guess that's the first time I seen this kind of thing. And then I got into a computer science degree when I was 17, 18, and I did that for 1 year and I dropped out. So that was the first time I ever did programming or built a website. After that, I actually applied for jobs on Gumtree to build websites for people. And I remember the first project I built, and this was, just to give you a time context of when that was I am 29 now, nearly 30, 30 in a few months. I was 18, so 11, 12 years ago when I first seen some code. I didn't do it as a career then. I did a couple of little like HTML projects, CSS. What happened was I got a job, and it was a Drupal job, and I had only learned how to like style and build things with Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver is like the equivalent of what Wix and things are now, I guess. Just helped you visually build websites. And after I got into that mess of jumping into a project that I had no clue about, I just said, not for me. And I actually changed course there and went off and did a half dozen different things, from working in phone sales to working in door-to-door sales at one point, to selling fine wines, becoming running my own beer club, teaching about beer. I can't believe I got to do beer tastings with people and got paid for it. But then I started looking at it again because I got very ill, rheumatoid arthritis, about 7 years ago, maybe 8. I'll have to get you an exact date. I think it might have been 7. And basically I just Googled what's the best job without a degree, and I started learning how to code between customers. Some of my customers actually became clients of mine, so my first few websites that I built were actually paid by customers of the wine shop who I knew ran businesses. Yeah, so that's when I started and how I started. Oh, nice. Believe it or not, if it wasn't so frowned upon, or if I was only slightly more macho, I might get away with this. But I would love the Overwatch Diva pink one. It's so cool. I love that one. Should one reject an offer if the company is not raising the pay and the person feels that the value she brings is much higher? So this is definitely a tough thing, because it depends how far you are in your career, what kind of problems you're solving, what the industry standard is. If you are being sold under market prices, you should probably reject the offer if you think you can get other things. But if you are just being arrogant, and I think this is a difficult thing to really check, you need some very good close friends to be able to sanity check you on these things, to say, am I worth the money I'm asking for? Obviously, I think everyone is worth a lot of money. With no context, we're worth an infinite amount if we work hard towards a goal and learn things. But if it's like, no, that's not enough because it's a small difference, and then you have a falling out, it might not be worth it. But if you do feel like you're bringing much more value to the team, I would stick out and look for building up, just building up the connections that you can actually go and do that then the way you want it to. Like if you think you're worth a certain price, go try get that price. Let somebody else tell you you're not worth it. Jump up a level higher. I think I kind of ramble there, but yeah, I wouldn't say like that's very. I guess it's very down to the exact situation, and we can talk offline or off stream about this, and I can give you a better idea if you want to throw the whole situation at me. Yeah, look, that was a really sensible question, Paul. Thank you. Better have a beer. It's too sensible. Paul, you are awesome. All the joking aside. Nah, I changed my mind after this one. Zachary Price. I want to update my portfolio. I know you use Next.js. Would you recommend that after done it, or would you use Angular, React, Vue, or something else? So, I built my portfolio in Next.js because I've been working with React since version 0. So I love React. It's a tool I know really well, and I'm very fluent in it. And Next.js is just a React framework, so it made logical sense to me to build the portfolio in React. Also, if I was going for another technical job now, I would probably be looking around React and Node. So it made a lot of sense for me to use like a full stack framework like that. If you know Vue, build a Vue. If you want to learn Vue, build it in Vue. If you want to learn React, if you want to learn Angular, I usually say use your portfolio as something as a way to learn something new, because you're only challenging yourself with these things. All of the tools do pretty much the same thing. Depending on it just depends on a different level of setup and what your outcome is. But yeah, I would just say if you're aiming to get a job out of it, just Google what jobs are in your area and then build it in that technology so you have something to show off for it. Oh, handlebars. There you go. That's actually a really interesting choice as well. If you were predominantly looking for like more of a node side job, like a full stack role or a server side JavaScript role, then yeah, handlebars might be a really smart option as well, because it works really well, and it will show that you are a full stack developer. So that's a very smart idea as well. I'm guessing this is due to the comment I made about doing the beer tastings. Yeah, it was really fun. People used to pay me to drink beers with them. Like it'd be like 10 of us sitting around a table, this beer club. And we'd order in a load of different beers every week, and we'd rate them. And it was always an argument by the end of them because we were after drinking about 10 different beers. So it was fantastic. I loved the chaos. We sure do. Let me put that back in here again. I have just added the Discord link again into the chat, so I'll pump it every so often. I'll add it to the video. If somebody's watching the replay of this, I'll add it into the description of the video so that you can check it out. And yeah, Praveen and Paul had told Ayush that he could find that already in the chat. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. No problem. What are you thinking of building it in? Or did you have any reasoning? Or was it just because you see people building things and you think that's what I should be doing? Because I feel like all of us are guilty of that trap of saying, oh, I've seen somebody build it in that thing and they kind of look like they know what they're doing, so I should build it in that way too. So yeah, let me know what you think. this does not make sense, but I do know. Let me open up my Twitter to the side here. I do know I got tagged in your Twitter earlier with something like this, but I was working, so I didn't have a look. Let me grab your tweet up here and see what you said about this. Oh, you did tag me in this. Huh. React versus React DOM. But like, okay, so I'm just reading this as your explanation. React is overrated. This is what Praveen had said on his Twitter, so don't blame me for these hateful comments, okay? React is overrated. Okay, I'm gonna first back the fuck up, okay? And React DOM is underrated. Okay, we're back. So there was the second half. React DOM is underrated. What do you think? So this is an interesting one because I think one needs the other. React DOM does a lot of the work, yes, but I use a lot of React Native as well, and I can use a lot of the syntax and representations of a similar syntax to get it, like a native app versus a web app. So like I'm a big fan because I use React Native a lot as well as React DOM. So yeah, that's an interesting one though. Do I think React is overrated? No, underrated. Everyone should do it. Forget about everything else. Forget about innovation. We're done. It's the best. Game over. Yes, this is something I've been dying to do for a while. I could never get enough portfolios or projects or anything else. So what I might open up is a little, like, I'll open up a link that people can send in some links to that I could have a reaction to different videos or different things. Yes, the current war is React versus Vue. Well, it's React, Vue, Angular, and I'm guessing we're going to side at React for obvious reasons, but have I had a chance to look at Vue? Yes, no, not in depth. And the only reason, like, I think they both solve the same problems. Vue, to me, is probably an easier solution because it has a lot of the libraries and things baked in where React doesn't. So you can often, with a React project, just be decked by analysis paralysis because you're like, which router should I use? What HTTP thing should I use? And what state library should I use? And you can get into this weird over-analysis stage, and it just takes forever. Whereas with Vue, you get all of that stuff and it's supported by the core library itself or framework. I'll use that term interchangeably. I don't really care. So it's used by the framework, so it's definitely much easier to get started and get a fully fledged application without worrying about, are you following best practices? So yeah, Vue is awesome. But does it really solve anything different? Like, is there, as a developer, is it solving any more problems for me as a React user? And for me, no, because I've been using the ecosystem long enough. If I was a new developer and I wanted to jump in easier, maybe that would be Vue because I'd have less choices to make. But I know locally where I am here, most of the jobs are React. So would I learn Vue because it's slightly easier, or would I learn React so I can get jobs? So for me, it's all, at the end of the day, it's about getting employed or getting projects or getting jobs. So it's always like, what is being sold in your area? Or do you want to be the Vue specialist? If there's loads of React jobs, do you want to be the one guy who knows Vue? Therefore, you can charge a lot when those Vue projects come up. It's very interesting. Not that anyone's going to type this in, But that is the Discord link in case for some reason it's lost in the madness here. Yeah. And all joking aside, everyone knows I'm very agnostic to all these frameworks and libraries. They are all doing similar things, and it's whatever you can get the job most efficiently done with, really. Ah, lovely. And if you don't mind me asking, Paul, is that why you're asking earlier after you took a break from coding, you're like, this is tough to get back into it? Is that why you were asking? Did you ever just feel like this isn't for you? Is that the kind of like mentality you're in now where you're like struggling to get up and get going again? Or was it just because you've been having fun the last few weeks? I use NG for work and a noob to React. I read about how easy Vue is, and I've used Handlebars Foundation for emails. I know others, Jekyll, curious about easily templating the site. I should have reading this out loud. I'm reading this as if I'm reading it myself. That's how I read books to myself. I read slightly out loud to make sure I'm reading it correctly. Yeah, well then it's a case of if you're just learning something for the sake of learning it, or if you're learning something for the sake of maybe a promotion or a next job or something else, then that's what I'd be looking at. Or just using what you know to get something done, and then you can try and build something bigger eventually anyway. Vue is great for someone wanting to learn a new skill without getting frustrated, but React will always be the king. Yeah, well, I'll agree with React always being the king. For now, I wonder what will come out. What paradigm will we see? Because I always feel like, especially all the paradigms like functional programming isn't new. So I wonder what paradigm people are going to fall into now. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out next few years, because React has been around quite a long time now. Let's have a look to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, you are a hypocrite for sure. I'm coming away from the freelancing as that slowed down due to the oversaturation of WordPress market. Yeah, it's a saturated market, but the thing is, and what I find really difficult about the WordPress market is there's so many people that are terrible. And I don't usually like to call people bad, but like there's so many cowboys there. They're absolutely ripping people off, and it frustrates me so much to see that. There's some phenomenal WordPress people, but like it takes some coding to be phenomenal at it as well. I think a lot of people overpromise things with WordPress builds. It's very frequent. So if you became a good WordPress developer, I think the cream rises. It's just, again, it's going to take a little while to rise with these things. Hence why I prefer tools that build enterprise grade software, because actual applications and software, although there is some pretty big applications on WordPress, I think to be doing bespoke builds for people is usually much more lucrative to a certain extent. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, if you're like, that's just fatigue, I guess. That's frustration more of what you're with the current situation. And then it's a case of like adapt or die, really, isn't it? You just have to figure out what's going to pay you well and how do I get there and work towards that. And then there is the whole other aspect of, is the work drying up, or are you just not in the right places? Like I'm in a lot of business networks, and I know there's always calls for WordPress developers because everyone has WordPress sites. So I think that is something you could also look at, is just getting into more business networks. Oh, what team am I using at the moment? It's usually Synthwave. Synthwave is beautiful. Let me see if I can get Synthwave up here. Let me share this for a second. Share screen. Let me zoom in on this. I love Synthwave 84. Look at that. It glows. Why don't you want that? That is what I love. It glows. That's enough for me. Once I have glowing stuff, I'm sold. Neon. Neon for the win. I don't know if there's anything else on that. Nah. Okay. Away you go. No, I skipped one. So looking about what to learn, mainly for an in-house job, obviously the market is still rough for new blood though. Yeah, but if you've been freelancing, Paul, I think this is where a lot of people make a mistake when they're starting, is they undersell themselves. You're not new anymore if you've built some projects. If you've built some freelancing projects, whether it's in WordPress or not, like as long as you've actually gone in and changed things and built things, you have a portfolio. So you're not new. So you can apply for those jobs that need a year's experience because you've been playing with this stuff for that time. You're not doing nothing. So I would, like, you don't need to tell people, oh, I had a job for 2 weeks and then I finished a project and then I wasn't doing another project for a month. You can just say, I started doing projects whenever you start doing projects. Use maybe an ex-customer. That's what I did when I jumped in, was I put down that I worked for a few years and I put customers of mine that I built websites for as references for the job that I wanted to get. And for me, my first job was actually a mid-level job as a software engineer because I had built a few websites in Angular, JS, and other few bits I was trying to learn. Whatever I was learning, I built the project in that. Nice. Yeah, so you're trying to get an efficient site done. Yeah, well then, like, I think Next.js and Tailwind for me were super efficient, but that's just because it helps you build a static site and it gets rid of a lot of redundant CSS. So your site inherently becomes very fast. So if you had to learn that stuff to do it though, is it fast to do? So I'd stick to what you know if you want to get something out fast. And then when you have a structure, sure, you can always then change it piece by piece if you want to. Yeah, definitely interesting. Oh, getting warm in here. If I open the window, it's going to be too loud. Paul, if you would be willing to go on the coding part more, Laravel and Vue.js might be something that you would like. I haven't used Laravel because a couple of times I have. The setup just killed me and I was just like, no, I'm out. Have you used that, Praveen? What's it like? We're having a chat here as well. Yeah, headless WordPress would be an interesting thing to look at as well. Like even just building, like using WordPress as an API, because headless e-commerce builds with WordPress and BigCommerce, say as a system for it, would be like, e-commerce sites are expensive. You could be charging 30 to 50 to 60,000 for here anyway for a good e-commerce site. So being able to do that headless and so it's bespoke, yeah, you could definitely make a small fortune if you got good with that. Yeah, I love coding it myself. I'm a huge fan of coding it myself. Tailwind is the closest thing between Bootstrap and building it myself, because it's still very, like, you're still building things. You're just putting all the classes together instead of writing the stuff in your CSS file. And you can still write normal CSS. So I think it's a happy medium for me because I like putting things together myself. I like to hand code these things, but just seeing how efficient the Tailwind is when it compiles, for me, that's just an easy win then. Laravel is something like Django. If you remember, you had a workshop with Gwen. Once you understand the concept and folder structures, you can roll out products. Interesting. Yes, so I'm going to be learning Django a good bit now shortly, because Carolina is going and learning Django now. So I will be there to debug and support. So I will learn it as well. So maybe you'll see me do some Django content as I play with that as well. Tailwind shot. Yeah, let me actually just, because I think people often let me just grab this Tailwind CSS. All right, let's jump into this site here. I love how it zooms nicely as well. See, they've kind of taught a lot of these things. So this is all built in Tailwind. You can see it looks very bespoke. You can build gradients, you can do whatever. So let me zoom out a little bit. Maybe I'm running too far. I go to the docs. Where's documentation? So like, it's just things like I want to put a shadow on something. So you can go and look for shadows. Let me just search it. I don't know. This is how I do it anyway. So outer shadow. And then you just throw on a class. So like, yes, there are specific shadows, but they have lots of different specific shadows. Same as kind of like your divide colors, your widths, your radiuses. I think there's a lot of options in here. You just don't have these kind of options in other sites. So like, my own site is built in it, and I don't think it looks too cookie cutter. Like, this is all Tailwind. So yeah, I think you can get away with, you know, making it not look cookie cutter, really. All right. Let me remove this. Yes. This is pretty much it. It's like the rules are done for you. Like, as in, your padding is, instead of you going 9 pixels padding, you'll have options of like 2 pixels, 4 pixels, 8 pixels, 16 pixels, just like if you had a design system. So it's very natural and it looks great. It means you sidestep a lot of the mistakes that you would be commonly making if you were trying to be a designer as well as a developer. So the thing that inspired Tailwind, I think, is from the book Refactoring UI, I think. Let me get that up. If anyone hasn't got this, Jay recommended this to me, so I was a huge fan when I got this, and then Tailwind came up on the scene pretty hard. So, see, really tired of relying on Bootstrap. So Tailwind UI, and yeah, Adam Wanton was using Tailwind as something he was using for customers himself for building things. So they released a book called Refactoring UI with all the rules for making really nice designs. And then he released and open sourced his own little system that he had built to build sites. So it's very interesting. The Refactoring UI book is great if you're trying to get an eye for design, but I do like Tailwind just because it offers you some kind of best practices out of the box. Nice. Yeah, cool. Absolutely. We'll probably make a Python channel soon. I'm going to separate things. We'll get Python, we'll get some JavaScript, we'll get some PHP. We'll get all of the great channels in there because there's definitely lots of different things people are asking about and doing. I play with lots of different things. Even though I predominantly do JavaScript content, I do like to play, and I have played with some PHP recently. I've played with some Python, and you know what? It's great. I enjoy it. Thank, yeah, thanks. Just to make sure people got the .af because a few people said you do know that's Afghanistan. I was like, yeah, but you know what .af really means. Yeah, Bulma, CSS, Skeleton. There's some fantastic stuff out there. Tailwind UI is super as well if you're looking for. I have a license for Tailwind UI and it's super helpful for mocking up sites fast when you have Tailwind. So yeah, Tailwind UI is class. Big fan of that. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. Jay has been quiet over the last couple of weeks, so I'm hoping I can get him on a stream with me over the next couple of weeks as well. Because I miss talking to him. We haven't had a face-to-face in a little while, so I miss his bare face. And I believe he's even cut his beard a bit. So he probably has a shorter beard than me now. Or it's like when, you know, Tornin cut his beard and he's like, yes, that's perfect. That's my beard cut done. Excellent. All right. Look, we are coming up onto an hour now, and I am going to. It's still really sunny here, so I'm going to try to go out and get a walk and enjoy the sunshine here. I will be back next week, and yeah, everyone have a great weekend. It's a long weekend here. I'm looking forward to enjoying it, and yeah, until next time, everybody. Happy coding. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see. Before. Yeah, Tej is great. I playing games with Tej all the time as well. He's actually down in Ennis now. He's down the country enjoying himself. He just got a new job as well. I don't know if I'm meant to be telling people that. Oh well, he's probably because he's traveling, not listening to this, thankfully. But yeah, he's doing great, in fairness. He'll be back. Stronger than ever. Jacked. All right. See you all the next time. Happy coding.